call the regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:01 p.m. Thank you all for coming, and for those who will be watching this meeting on YouTube in the future, all board members are present and a quorum is established. I need a motion to recess this meeting to the high school auditorium.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Gutierrez.
Okay, there's a motion and there is support to relocate recess this meeting to the high school auditorium. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're in recess at 7:01. We'll see you in the auditorium.
I am.
The Board of Education has returned from recess. The Board of Education has returned from recess at 7:05. At this time, I invite...
Hold on, we still have some technical issues.
Thank you.
Okay.
Again, the Board of Education has returned from recess at 7:05 p.m. At this time, I invite those willing and able to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We're going to now move on to our first public comment period. Trustee Andrew Sislo has graciously agreed to serve as tonight's timekeeper. Thank you, Andrew. Be advised, this meeting is a meeting of the... Bear with me here. Be advised, this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. When addressing the board, you will be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as a future agenda item for board consideration. Are there any students wishing to address the Board of Education? Are there any public members wishing to address the Board of Education?
I think it's on now. Good evening. Does that work? Hello? So I have to eat them. Okay. Mr. President, I request additional time as I represent the group that is the majority of the people present. I didn't time it, but I would think 5 or 6 minutes. I'm Jim Brusso.
All right, so I need a motion to allow this particular speaker to speak more than 3 minutes. Is there a motion?
Moved by Burdette.
Is there a support?
Support by Gutierrez.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Go ahead with your statement.
Thank you. I'm Jim Brusso. In addition to having taught here in the district for over 30 years, I'm a proud parent of 2 children who attended kindergarten through high school graduation in Milan. Raising our children in Milan has been a source of pride for my wife and I. We value the district's history of strong academics and appreciate the many opportunities and services it provides, both in and out of the classroom. There's a lot to love about the Milan community and the school district. When our children were growing up, we regularly asked them about their days and how things were going. When we asked them what they liked most about school, their answers were never about the facilities or the programs or the security system. They loved school because of the people, the ones that stood before them, inspiring, redirecting, encouraging, and supporting them. And the paraprofessionals, office staff, principals, bus drivers, and others who displayed care and concern for them and who helped them feel valued as individuals. These staff members gave of themselves with care and compassion that cannot be measured. And it is many of these incredible people and those who followed them who bring me here tonight. I have the honor of representing the dedicated educators as president of the Milan Education Association. Our union represents Milan's teachers and other professional staff, including school social workers, speech and language pathologists, counselors, school psychologists, behavior specialists, academic coaches, etc. Since COVID, the landscape of education has changed, and the challenges of this profession have only grown. Yet despite these obstacles, these heroes before you continue to show up every day because they care, because they believe every child deserves the opportunity to succeed. They are the ones who recognize a spark of potential in a student and ignite their curiosity, opening doors to new possibilities, simply because they believe in them, the students. While they are deeply passionate about their work, passion alone is not enough. They deserve to be fairly compensated for the work they do. The collective bargaining agreement between Milan area schools and the Milan Education Association expired over 5 months ago on August 15th. To be clear, at first the district was not responsible for the delay. It was not until the first week in October that the state provided schools with a budget. We understood it was not reasonable to ask the board to make a commitment when they hadn't been given accurate information on revenue. Fortunately, that budget provided significant increases in per pupil funding and in major categorical funding such as at-risk monies. Now we had all the information we needed, and the staff deserved to have a fair contract. We trusted that when it was time to negotiate our contract, the district would respond appropriately. We have a history of addressing concerns directly with the district with mutual respect. While we don't always agree, generally we understood each other. Today, although we continue bargaining with the administration and board, we are struggling to find common ground around the salaries of the people who work most closely with children. We have seen substantial increases in per pupil revenue from the state. It's gone up approximately 20% since the time of COVID. And our community passed the sinking fund that should allow more general fund dollars to be directed towards educational programming. We all have seen record inflation over the past few years and huge increases in healthcare insurance costs that have put a strain on all of us financially. We believed the district would recognize this. But just in case, we collected information from all 9 school districts in Washtenaw County to compare how the other districts compensate their educators compared to Milan area schools. The results were disturbing, especially realizing that all of the county's school districts, except Ann Arbor, received the same amount of per pupil funding from the state. But the other 8 districts, of which we're part, received the same amount. We found that when averaged, Milan schools pay their teaching staff who have bachelor's degrees the least of all the districts countywide. Our educators with master's degree fare only slightly better and are the second lowest paid in the county. Also, when salaries across the 9 districts in the county are averaged, Milan staff are paid overall almost $4,300 a year less than the averages teachers get from other districts. It seems to me that the reason we are paid so much less is a matter of priorities. And teaching and other professional staff compensation is not the priority in the district. In my opinion, the union's current salary proposal is fair, but even if the teacher's current salary proposal was agreed to and implemented,
Milan's educators will still be the second or third lowest paid in our county. Low educator salaries impact the willingness of new staff to commit long-term to the district. I think we can all agree that excessive turnover of staff is not helpful to our students. Underpaying staff will increase the number leaving the district and make it more difficult to attract quality candidates to replace them. Additionally, existing staff morale in the district is suffering as it becomes more and more clear that the district is not willing to prioritize improving staff salaries, even with all the facts I mentioned earlier. In December, when bargaining seemed to have stalled, the MEA requested a mediator from the Michigan Employment Relations Commission in Lansing. This was another attempt to help settle a contract we all can live with. To date, the district and the union have met with the mediator once, and we have another meeting scheduled this week. Let's be honest, I didn't want to be here tonight. I don't enjoy speaking in public in front of adults, and I didn't want to address you publicly. I wanted to keep the negotiation process between the staff and the administration. However, it seems that that isn't working. Milan's educators deserve a fair contract. The teachers and other professional staff are the heartbeat of the district. We bring the facilities and the curriculum to life. And we deserve more than just verbal recognition and thank yous. We deserve to be compensated fairly for the incredible work we do. We deserve a contract that ensures a reasonably comfortable life so we can maintain our focus on the classroom and our students. With a growing teacher shortage across the nation, we must keep Milan a district that attracts and retains the best talent. Our community deserves it, and more importantly, our students deserve it. Please show our educators that working with our youth, Milan's youth, is valued and appreciated. Make people the priority, because at the end of the day, they are the driving force behind it all. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Could we have thank you for your comments, Mr. Grosser. Is there any additional public comment at this time? Thank you for your comments. Is there any additional public comment? Okay.
Hi.
Your name?
Molly West. I'm Molly West. I'm a mother to 2 daughters in the school district, as well as the wife of one of your teachers. I was born and raised in a small town in southwest Michigan, a town much like Milan. I grew up in an impoverished household, marred by addiction and mental illness that made me at risk in many ways, ultimately leading me to choose homelessness at the age of 15 to escape the neglect I was experiencing. While it sounds like a sob story, it's not. I graduated valedictorian and went on to attend the University of Michigan on a full academic scholarship. I have a good life. I share this story today because, despite all the adversity I faced at home as a child and adolescent, I thrived at school, from kindergarten to graduation. And I attribute my success in large part to the exceptional teachers in my small rural Michigan town that supported, taught, coached, and mentored me every step of the way. Without them, I wouldn't have beat the odds. I'm sure many of you here know students like that in our community. When Chris and I moved back to Michigan, we chose Milan specifically because it's a small town with great schools. Our girls are now in the middle of their 4th year in this district, and they've had exceptional teachers each and every year. but we are kidding ourselves if we think we can retain or recruit exceptional teachers by being the lowest or near lowest district in the county in terms of teacher compensation. When we value our teachers and pay them at a level that reflects that value, our children benefit, and when our children benefit, society benefits. As a mother of children in the district, as the wife of one of your exceptional teachers, and as a taxpayer, I ask that you do what is right and what is long overdue. Close the gap to meet what the union is asking for in terms of teacher compensation. In a time of critical teacher shortages in the state and across the nation, and as teachers are paid 73.1 cents on the dollar compared to their similarly educated and experienced counterparts, we cannot afford to do otherwise. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other additional public comment?
Good evening, Andrea Benning, and I'm speaking this evening as a parent. Usually I don't speak as a parent on nights that a PAC update is on the agenda, but this topic is too important to pass. I volunteer on PAC to support families of Milan area schools, and part of that support includes supporting staff, including teachers and support staff. Special education funds are almost fully funded through the special education millage. The WISD and our districts receive the most dollars for students receiving special education in the entire state. Per the most recent transparency report through the WISD, and I quote, the Special Education Fund, Special Revenue Fund, reported a fund balance of $17.7 million this year. This was in June of 2025, which is an increase of $7.4 million from last year. The primary reasons for the increase are lower spending in areas of instructional staff support, return of taxes due to tribunal cases, technology and operations, and capped Act 18 reimbursements to local districts as a result of not being able to reimburse more than they spent. Fund balances of the WISD Special Education Millage Fund indicate that our district is not utilizing all the available funds that the ISD has for special education services. Paraprofessionals and staff who work with students receiving special education services are paid with funds through the ISD, provided through the special education millage. Because of this, our support staff should be paid on a scale that is comparable to our neighboring districts. Because of the funding available in the special education millage, the sinking fund millage, and the CTE millage, the district should strongly consider comparable pay for all staff, not just our paraprofessionals. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any additional public comment?
Hello, my name is Ashley Eichner-Pendel, and I am a parent here in the district. I feel like I spoke at the last meeting, but I wanted to speak again because I feel like I have a very unique perspective, as both of my children are in the special education program and depend heavily on all of their supports. My youngest probably could not attend school without his wonderful paras. And I just want to come and speak again to say that our teachers, our paras, our support staff, our administrative staff, they all deserve to be paid for the work that they do. They deserve benefits. It will move our district forward, and without them, we don't really have a great district to be proud of. I also wanted to bring up again this evening, because it's hitting so close to home, and put on your radar. If our board and our administrators have plans, if ICE decides to come to our school district and terrorize our students, parents, and children. So I wanted to make sure to put that on the radar as well. Thank you for listening, and again, please consider just our wonderful staff and what they deserve. They work hard, they go above and beyond every day for our students, especially our special education students. And I hope that the district sees that we can't be the amazing district we are without them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Is there any additional public comment?
Hello, my name is Krista Grutt. I am not used to doing this, and I don't have a formal, thing to say. However, I have 2 children that are at the high school, and, you know, from Mrs. Kleiber to Mrs. Barker to Rod, my children have thrived here, but I'm at the point where I literally asked my son the other day, do you want to change schools? Because I am disappointed in the way that things are running and the way that things are going. I feel like our teachers should get equal pay. And I also feel like we're losing kids. We're losing students to other areas within our district. And my child couldn't take AP Physics this year because there weren't enough people that were interested. So my daughter is a thriver, but she's not a thriver because of me. She's a thriver because of all the people that I just said, plus another probably 10 to 12 to 15. She's going to UT next year and is going to be a structural engineer student. And, you know, her being able to take AP Physics would have been incredible for her. However, you guys did not, it was not offered because we don't have those kind of students because they're going other places. And why is that? I mean, I'm very frustrated at the way that the school system has gotten. And I moved to Milan because I thought it was an amazing school system. I built a home here. I built a life here for my children, and I feel like we're letting them down. You know, and the whole situation that happened at the high school, you know, the other day we all saw it on TV, the kids taking pictures of the flood coming through. What if students were in here and you're telling them to evacuate, and what's the temperature outside? You know, I am a taxpayer, I pay my taxes, you know, it went towards the levy, and I don't understand why we're not fixing these problems instead of actually completely fixing them instead of just putting tape over it. Because that's what I feel like we're doing. We're just taping the issue instead of solving the problems. And I'm very passionate about the education that my kids receive, and I hope that I don't have to have my son leave the district because I feel like, you know, I would like him to be here. This is where they started, but where they started is totally different than where it is now. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any additional public comment at this time? Your name?
Hi, Jennifer Corker.
Thank you.
I don't have anything that I came planned to say, but I think seeing the people who have already spoken before me and the relationships that I've forged with them, I wanted to stand up and say something from my perspective. So I have a 3rd grader, and we also have a kindergartner. Unfortunately, going through the experience of transitioning our kindergartner from early on to the district, we lost faith in the ability for the district to manage his complex needs. It was an incredibly sad thing because my son's teachers, who he's had every year, have been amazing. They are the reason that we still have him, our older son, in the district. And they are incredibly special people that I will keep memories of forever and am always happy to see when I come to public events. So I just want you to know that the reason our older child is here is because of those teachers and because I haven't totally lost the faith, but I am concerned by other people's stories that say their thriver isn't thriving anymore here. And that's my older son, who's in 3rd grade. He's a thriver, and I'm actually having to reach out to his teacher to ask how the district is prepared to continue to challenge him. So I just want you to know my perspective, and that I want our older son to stay here as long as possible, as long as this district is able to support him. And it is a sad thing that our younger son isn't here. But I can tell you there's a big difference when you go to a different district in the county and what they're able to provide a child. That consistency. He's had the same para every single day. They all sat in a room with me and listened and said, we want to understand him. We want to give you what your child, the individual education plan that he deserves. And it looks like that. And as much as I would have stayed to help this district be better, because I don't mind using my voice to improve things, it wasn't in his best interest when we had to gather all the data and the things that we've observed, so we had to make that choice. But it's not one that I take lightly, and it's a little bit sad every time we come somewhere and know that Bryce won't have that experience. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I would encourage you to reach out to Superintendent McMahon or Assistant Superintendent Buckout, I'm sorry, to share, meet with them and share your concerns with them as well. So, okay. Yeah, just, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Is there any other additional public comment? Yep. If you could state your name.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Thacker. So, much like her, I did not plan to speak. I don't have anything. I'll be quick. Thank you for your time, and sorry that it's going to run late. My concern is the reason I'm here. I knew about the teachers and the pay, and I know that there are plenty of people to speak about that, so that's all I'll say. I'm concerned about what your guys' response to ICE will be, because I am a parent who stands at the bus stop with the kids plural. Most of them are not mine. A lot of the time, I'm the only one there. There have been over 170 American citizens detained and arrested by ICE mistakenly, including some of our service members. If they're not safe, I'm not safe. And I'm the only one there. What if I'm not there? I just want you guys to come up with a plan, please.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other additional public comment at this time? Okay, go ahead, Mr. West. I know who you are, but state your name, please.
Hi, whoa, that's loud. I'm Christopher West. I didn't plan to say anything today, but this is my first year in the district. So my wife mentioned we moved into Milan, 4 years ago. We're neighbors with Tom. And I taught in Bedford for the first 3 years I was here. And I moved to Milan for, mainly two reasons. The first reason was to be able to influence the programs that my daughters would have when they got to secondary school, when they got to high school. Build something that I could be proud of and they could experience. And secondly, I moved into the district because every time I met with my daughter's teachers, I could tell they were happy to be here. So for 3 years at every parent-teacher conference, they were happy because they felt like they were part of a family, Milan area schools, right? And I took a pay cut to come here. I made more money in Bedford. I lost years when I came here. I gave that to you. That's what I did. And when I think about the proposals and how far apart we are, and I think about the difference of 0.03%. So here's an analogy. We just finished the first semester, and I have a student that comes to me and says, "Hey, Mr. West, I know I earned a 59.97 in my class this semester. Could you please give me 0.03%? I'll do better next time. It will motivate me," etc., etc., etc. and I say, sorry, Jimmy, 0.03%, should have worked harder. I could stand on that principle. And you could say I'm justified for standing on that principle. But I guess the question is, at what cost? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. West. Are there any additional public comments at this time? Okay, thank you all for your comments and your feedback. We will now move on to routine matters for approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 14th.
Moved by Heike.
Is there support?
Support by Gutierrez.
Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll proceed with the vote. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Okay. Use the mics. We are learning a different system. Okay. Motion by Heike, support by Gutierrez, minutes of regular meeting. Here we go. Burdette.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike.
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session held on January 14th.
Moved by Murray.
Support by Gutierrez.
Is there any discussion? We will proceed with the vote. Ms. Murray.
Okay. Farrow.
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike.
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Burdette.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on now to Ms. Bennick and/or Ms. Norton. They have a WISD PAC update that they will provide at this time.
And if you will pass your
Oh,
closed
sorry.
session minutes to the center, please. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sarah Norton. I'm one of the PAC reps for Milan. And I wanted to thank the Milan School Board of Education for the opportunity for us to provide an update on the recent WISD Parent Advisory Committee meeting. And congratulations to Tom Farrow on your election to board president and to the other officers elected at your last meeting. We wish outgoing President Andrew Sislo all the best as he ends his time as president and finishes out his term on the board. We look forward to continuing the partnership between PAC reps, the schools, the community, and the board as roles and members change in various parts of the school district. The WISD PAC last met on January 20th, and the focus of our time together was preparing for the state of Michigan least restrictive environment monitoring process. The meeting between the PAC and the state takes place on Monday, February 9th at 5:30. The ISD has invited local student services directors and superintendents to attend the meeting that evening. We hosted Amy Sanderson from Michigan Alliance for Families, and she gave a refresher on the least restrictive environment, highlighting the continuum of services available to students and the Department of Education's guidance for educators and administrators on determining a student's placement for free and appropriate public education. Beth Kohler from Special Education Mediation Services was also in attendance in an observatory role, not as a presenter this time. It was good to see her and hear her input on our discussions. Part of our meeting focused on each district representative reflecting on what services are provided in the district and what levels of services are available through the WISD. It was a good exercise for our members to thoughtfully examine what the continuum of services looks like in each district. We also took time to explore mischooldata.org website. If you're not familiar with the site, it's a wealth of information that can be sorted by individual districts, various demographics within the districts, and a comparison tool to give insight to anyone who is interested in data about their district. We heard from members on updates in their districts. There are a couple of interesting initiatives in some districts. Dexter's exploring a peer-to-peer PE class. Traditional peer-to-peer class is less than ideal due to a wide variance in abilities amongst the students enrolled. Chelsea noted that their high school is building out their schedule by placing students with IEPs first and then working on scheduling a curriculum from there. Whitmore Lake has created a new class that is by invitation for students with IEPs at the beginning of their day where they can get help with assignments. We thought it was an interesting idea that could help support students who struggle with executive function and working memory component of understanding, completing assignments, and then turning them in. Milan has a few updates as well. As we heard last week, our Director of Student Services is retiring at the end of February. We thank Mr. Smith for his collaboration, time, and support of us as PAC reps. We met with Mr. Smith last week and talked about the LRE process and about our hopes for a new director who is committed to continuing the partnership we have created, who may have some fresh ideas about how to connect with families in the district, and has a desire to advocate for and support staff throughout training, lobbying for competitive pay, and sharing resources. We invite everyone to attend the Milan Unified Sports Basketball Games. There are 3 home games in February on the 19th, 23rd, and 26th. All games start at 4 here at the high school. It'd be awesome to see our community come out and support our unified athletes. The games are also published on the athletic page, so if there are any changes, they'll be noted there. Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Gillis have done a great job of growing the unified teams. As PAC reps, we support our teachers and support staff who are currently in negotiations for their contracts. It's our hope that our district will recognize the valuable work and dedication the staff has to working with all our students and meeting the needs of our students with IEPs and a full inclusion model. Their work is not just in the classroom. It goes beyond that to include trainings even beyond what is offered in our PD days, meetings and communications with families, and a desire to help support all the students they encounter, whether in their classroom or their building or the community. That dedication should be recognized, valued, and compensated. We recently shared a winter newsletter with the Milan Area Schools community. That newsletter contained valuable information on summer opportunities, insurance supports, and extracurricular activities. If you're interested in receiving our newsletters, you can connect with us at Andrea Bennick, pacrep@gmail.com, or myself, Sarah, at sarahnorton.milanpac@gmail.com. Thank you for your time and for your continued collaboration.
Thank you for that update, and we appreciate you keeping us informed and keeping the community informed. So, are there any questions for Ms. Norton or Ms. Bennick? Okay. We will move on to the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda is Superintendent McMahon will discuss and provide an update on our non-affiliated salary schedule. Mr. McMahon.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. Not. Well, we haven't made a motion yet. So.
Mr. President, I move that we recess to move back to the boardroom.
Support by Burdette.
Okay. Is there any discussion? We will proceed with the vote.
Here. Yeah, I'm gonna yell it. I'm just gonna yell it. Okay. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heika.
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Burdette.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, I need a motion to approve the non-affiliated staff salary schedule update I go back. I need a motion to approve the non-affiliated staff salary schedule update.
Moved by Murray.
Support by Burdette. Okay, any discussion? Okay, Mr. McMahon.
Thank you, President Farrow. This is the salary schedule that initially started here last year It was in November it got passed. It was to suffice ORS requirements that all positions have a salary schedule. And it's for our non-affiliated employees. So it's those that aren't in a union. We have just under 30 of them that qualify as non-affiliated. So the schedule was created last year. We would annually update it. We've been waiting. We would normally do this earlier, but typically in this district, we do a Me Too. We settle the teachers first, and then we go with the other groups and non-affiliated. But we are moving forward now with the non-affiliated. So it represents a basis of a 3% raise for everybody on the list, except for 2 positions that are grant funded, and they're just 2% raised. And then there's a few positions that are hourly, and we had to bring them up a little bit more than 3% to meet some legal requirements, like minimum wage. And then we market corrected it at an administrator. So it's based on 3% raise with a couple of variations in there, and you've seen it in Dropbox.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, we'll proceed with the vote. Ms. Murray?
Okay, Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we are back to communications and community engagement. First up are comments from our student board representative, Virginia Heika.
I have nothing tonight.
All right, thank you very much for being here. All right, we're back to public comments. Are there any additional public comments? Just a reminder, the same rules described in advance of the first public comment period apply. Kindly keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Your name?
Josh Coughlin.
Can you push that button there, Josh?
There we go. Oops. Try not to drop the mic. Here we go. Josh Coughlin, proud class of Milan 2010. I want to say I support this Board of Education and the teachers, because without the teachers, I would have not had the opportunity to go to Olivet College and start my career with community service, all the foundations. I know you guys can work through the mediations and work through the building issues. I'm just proud to say here to support. Former councilman, just wanted to return the favor and come to a meeting and have fun with you guys. So great, interesting first meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Coughlin, thank you for coming. Thank you for your service to the city. I know you were a city councilman for a number of years, so thank you. Is there any other additional comment? Yes, Ms. Bennick.
I just wanted to tack on from my last comment, that a lot of the people that were present in the meeting, in the auditorium, teachers, support staff, they've all worked with my kids. So many of them, I go through and I see the faces of all 3 of my children's staff who've taught them, paras who have worked with my youngest son. I have a lot of respect for them, and I really think that they deserve so much more than what they're being offered at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other additional public comment at this time? Okay, thank you all for your comments, your feedback. All right, next up on the agenda is Ms. Bookout. She's going to provide us Assistant Superintendent comments.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. I want to take a minute to highlight our Professional Development Day that happened 2 Fridays ago now on January 16th. While each building did plan their day around their own unique building needs, there were some clear themes across the district. So our staff across all 4 buildings spent time talking about strengthening Tier 1 instruction, continuing our MTSS work, and also collaborating around curriculum and designs and student support. I particularly want to highlight the work that was done at Paddock and PECC around AAC devices. Their speech and language pathologist spent some time designing and presenting to our staff about ways that we can help our youngest students with communication differences really be able to communicate and participate meaningfully in instruction. So I really want to appreciate that work. The day was also very intentionally designed to include time for both learning as well as application time for our staff. So I want to thank our building administrators for thoughtfully designing that day, and for our teachers and support staff for all their professionalism and time that they spend engaged in learning. Days like this are really important. I know they can be difficult for parents to arrange childcare and that disruption, but it is so important for our staff to be able to come together and learn, and it's an important part of how we continue to strengthen support and instruction across our district.
Thank you, Ms. Bookout. Next up is Mr. McMahon, Superintendent comments.
Mr. Farrell, thank you. I do have a few comments tonight. I want to start by saying I'm really grateful to announce that we have reached tentative agreements with our MASSS group, which is our administrative assistants, our paraprofessionals and custodians, and also with our transportation group. A tentative agreement means we agree to terms. They need to bring it to their groups for an official vote, and then once that happens, we vote on it and ratify it, and then it becomes contract. So we made good strides this week. I'm proud. We basically I went to both those groups with a 3.23% average rate, which is what the teacher's contract offer is based on, and they made some concessions here and there, and we're happy to move forward with those contracts. So all we have left as a board to negotiate with, assuming those get ratified, is our MEA group. I would like to update you on the search for our next executive director of student services. It was already shared earlier, but we are moving forward. We had 25 candidates apply for the position. Mrs. Bookout and I vetted them this week, and we have interviews scheduled for Friday, first round interviews. It's going to be including staff members from every building, and also Mrs. Bookout and I. And then we move to second round next week, where we bring some administrative staff in, and then there's even a third round scheduled with Jen and I for a tour if needed. And I found out Mr. Smith will be back, so he could join us for that. We're hoping to bring the candidate to you for the February 11th meeting. Mr. Smith is with us through the end of February, so we're trying to get as much transition time as we can, shared time together. So we're looking forward to hiring our next director there. It's an important hire for us. I do want to make a brief comment about the cancellations of school. It was the last board meeting, January 14th, that we had none. And I sit in front of you 2 weeks later, and we've had 5. It's been a lot of hectic weather. It's been a lot of difficult decisions. I want to first say I really appreciate parents, staff, the students. It's a lot to shift on the fly, whether even if I can give you 24 hours notice, or if it's, it could be sometimes a 1 hour notice. It's a lot of change, and I know, and I appreciate that. The issue at the high school last week was challenging. It was unexpected. It got worse as the day went on. We responded the best we could, but the high school staff was resilient. The front office, the administrative assistants, and the administrators took a lot of grief, and I appreciate them sticking through it. Sometimes the decision to cancel school is easy, and that's nice. I was hoping my first couple would be softballs, and you see that forecast of 8 inches landing in the middle of the night, but it's not always that way. But we do everything we can to hold school every day. It's important to be in school. It's important to have consistency for our students and for our staff and for our parents. We do everything we can to make that happen. And a lot of work goes into making school happen on these challenging days. So I appreciate everybody's patience with that. With that, I want to make sure I thank a few people, especially Gary Cox. He's our new facilities director, and his maintenance team. They're working around the clock. Literally, he was here till 3:30 in the morning on Friday night, well, Saturday morning, climbing on the roof in the wind and rain to unfreeze some pipes. So they're working extremely hard. I also want to thank Doug Orr, our mechanic in the transportation department, Jeannie Baber, our director of transportation, and all the bus drivers, because they have to put a lot of work into making sure the equipment's running and safe, and the kids are, and then they drive, right? I go drive we have a team, including me, that drive the roads in the morning, and we make a determination if it's safe, but they're the ones that have to actually do it with kids in the bus. And they do a tremendous job, and they take their job very seriously. And I just appreciate all their work, so I just want to make that comment. Finally, I want to congratulate Mr. Farrell and Mrs. Pryor, or Mrs. Gutierrez, sorry, for their new leadership position. Cassie, I'll congratulate you too. For their new leadership positions on the board. I'm looking forward to working closely with you guys in that new capacity. And I also want to thank you, Andrew, for all the work. I'll never forget my first president of the board when I became superintendent, so I appreciate it. Yeah, so thanks. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McMahon. Next item on the agenda is board member comments. At this time, the Board of Education would like to make a single unified statement regarding its negotiations with the MEA. I will now read the statement in its entirety. The Board of Education recognizes that our teachers and members of other labor groups have been working without a collective bargaining agreement throughout the current school year. By mutual agreement, the previous agreement with our teachers was allowed to expire with negotiations scheduled to begin after the state of Michigan passed its budget. Negotiating before both parties know the state's budget and available funding, school funding, would require speculation and assumptions rather than an understanding of actual revenue. The state budget was passed in mid-October, and negotiations began soon thereafter. We are currently in mediation with the Milan Education Association, otherwise known as MEA, the union representing our teachers. Mediation is a step in the collective bargaining process that occurs when the parties have reached an impasse in negotiations. Mediation involves a neutral, independent, third party who works with both sides to find common ground. The mediator does not make decisions or take sides, but instead listens to both parties, clarifies positions, and offers suggestions to help identify potential areas of compromise. During our first mediation session, the mediator presented a proposal to both parties, but it was not mutually agreed upon by both parties. Our bargaining teams are scheduled to meet again for mediation tomorrow evening. While some contract language remains under discussion, negotiations have primarily focused on salary compensation. The most recent offer made by the board includes an average salary increase of 3.23% for teachers. For some teachers, depending on where they would fall on the salary schedule, this proposal equates to an effective increase of up to 15 to 19% compared to last year. The board believes this offer is fair and reasonable. Given the district's financial conditions, the board is concerned that additional increases would not be prudent or fiscally responsible. The board has a fiduciary responsibility to ensure the long-term financial stability of the district, a responsibility that all of us take very seriously. Providing additional pay increases beyond the district's financial capacity could result in teacher layoffs, increased class sizes, and reductions to academic and extracurricular programs. Districts across the state have already been forced to implement such measures, including pay-to-play models. Maintaining access to extracurricular activities is critical for student achievement, connection to the school community, and leadership development. Likewise, keeping class sizes as small as possible, especially for our youngest learners, is essential for academic success. One key indicator of a district's financial health is its fund balance, which reflects the percentage of unencumbered funds available at the end of a fiscal year. The board's goal is to maintain a fund balance of at least 10%, though our auditors recommend a range closer to 15 to 18%. A fund balance below 5% triggers state oversight and intervention. At the end of the 24 fiscal year, the district's fund balance stood at 15.3%. Following several planned expenditures, including last year's collaboratively developed compensation package with the MEA, the fund balance at the end of fiscal year 25 declined to 10.89%. For the current 2026 fiscal year, the approved budget reflects a projected fund balance of 2.73%, with no wage increases for employees above guaranteed increases based on their years of service. Based on the board's most recent offer made to MEA on December 8th of 2025, projections indicate the fund balance could fall to 1.59%, a level that would likely require coordination with the state on a debt elimination plan. A fund balance of 1.59% leaves virtually no margin for unforeseen expenses districts commonly encounter. For example, this school year began with a mold remediation project at Paddock Elementary School, resulting in significant expense not entirely covered by insurance and not eligible for sinking fund use. It is crucial the board maintains sufficient funds to address unforeseen events like this. Regarding the district's sinking fund, Superintendent McMahon provided an update on November 12, 2025, during our Board of Education meeting. The sinking fund was approved for a 10-year period from 2025 to 2034. To date, the district has received $528,424 in revenue generated by the sinking fund. Because this is the first year of tax collection for this levy, we will not receive a full year of the sinking fund revenue until the end of this fiscal year. By law, sinking fund dollars cannot be used for employee wages or benefits. These funds are restricted to specific capital purposes for replacement but not repair of items such as roofs, parking lots, sidewalks, heating and cooling systems, flooring, lighting, and safety and security upgrades, buses, and instructional technology. Due to aging facilities, many of these needs are occurring simultaneously and at an accelerated pace. Use of sinking fund dollars must meet strict legal requirements, and we have encountered situations this year where we could not use sinking fund dollars to cover significant expenses, for example, the mold remediation. We hold deep respect and appreciation for our teachers and all of our employees, who are essential to the success and well-being of our students and community. The board remains committed to supporting our educators to the fullest extent possible within our financial reality. Unfortunately, the district does not have additional unrestricted funds available for additional employee compensation beyond what the board has already offered without risking significant financial hardship, deep cuts to district programs and services, and potential state intervention. We remain committed to open, transparent, and respectful dialogue and will continue working with the MEA in good faith during mediation, seeking to create creative solutions wherever possible. And we want to thank you for your continued dedication to Milan students. Okay. Are there any individual board comments at this time? Ms. Pryor.
Okay. I got trauma from the other room. So I'm in charge of the policy committee, and I just want to mention that moving forward, we will have designated meeting time where we will be discussing the policies we are starting to review. I created a schedule of the table of contents, dividing every policy up, giving a date to everyone through the scheduled dates in July. The next one, say first meeting, second meeting. The board members have been asked to review these ahead of time. If there's any changes that we need to make for our individual district, then we will put it on the agenda and discuss it openly at the next meeting. To date, we have reviewed 1101, 1201, 1301, 1401, 2101 through 2103, 2201 through 2203, and 2301 to 2303. No revisions to these except 2104, which is currently undergoing a revision on how we nominate and proceed with our student board members, which will be discussed at the next board meeting. Going forward, we will always have policy on the agenda, and look forward to comment. Thank you.
Ms. Heika.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone in the public who came tonight to participate in this public meeting. I think that public discourse is so important, and I always love to see this room full of people seeing how this board works and how just how it works. I want to remind all of our students that their scholarship applications are due for all the local scholarships in the next few weeks. And the Ann Arbor Community Foundation scholarships are also due February 10th, right? Yes. So there's a lot of money out there. Make sure that you get those applications in, and especially in the Ann Arbor one and the ones through the GMACF. There's just so much money out there if you can get those applications done. And they're pretty involved. Some involve essays. You're going to need some letters of recommendation, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get them together. But please fill those out, because there have been some years in the past where you just don't get enough people to apply, and I'd hate to see that happen this year. I want to welcome Tom to the president's seat. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I apologize, I missed the last meeting. I was sick. And I do want to say a very special thank you to Andrew. I feel like that's the seat you started in when we were baby board members. I think that I know it hasn't always been easy, and I think that you have always led us with integrity and passion, and at the heart of it, at the core of all of it is your love for this community. And I just always appreciate that from you, and thank you for all you did, because there was a lot of sacrifice on your part to hold that role for so long. So thank you so much.
Dr. Gutierrez.
I'm just getting called on now. I don't even volunteer. No, I'm just teasing you, Tom. I was still stewing on what I wanted to say.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. A couple of things. I want to thank Mrs. Norton and Mrs. Bennick for your work with PAC. I always appreciate the updates you give, but
even more appreciate getting them in our inbox by email, because when you provide those updates, there's so many wonderful things and dates and opportunities and names, and I'm trying to write them all down, and to get them in our inbox is really, really helpful. And so thank you for that work, both in representing and advocating not only your students, but our families in the district, and for being great ambassadors in bringing that information back to the district. I want to thank Mrs. Eichner and Mrs. Thacker for the comments you made about ICE and the concerns. It is a conversation in our household currently, and I'm sure many families throughout the district. I get a little choked up about it. It was on my mind to have that conversation with our administration, and so thank you for bringing that forward. We know there's been some news recently that has been concerning, and I want to make sure that that is on our minds. And then finally, I appreciate Mrs. Heike sharing the information about scholarship information. If you haven't seen that or haven't had your kiddos bring it home, it is in the parent newsletter, which, thanks to Mrs. Barker, pro tip, taught me where you can find that really easy. I sit on the board and I couldn't find my own parent newsletter. I get the staff newsletters, but not the parent ones. And Mrs. Barker told me that you can just scroll to the bottom of Power School and they're right there. So thank you for that tip. And I wanted to share that with our families, because there is, again, a lot of information, a lot of dates, and it's really easy to access. And I thank our staff and administrators for making that information so readily available for our students and families. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Murray, are you ready?
Sure.
All right.
Yes. I'd also like to offer congratulations to Mr. Farrow and Dr. Gutierrez. Congratulations on your elections, and I have every confidence that your partnership is going to be a great balance for our board. So I look forward to serving with you in these new roles. And I will echo again thanks to Mr. Sislo for your steady and faithful leadership. All of us, excuse me, all of us here at this table got here because of a deep love for this district and belief in our community and belief in our students and our staff, and a desire to support each other and all of the work that happens in this great community. And I can't honestly think of many other people in this community other than Mr. Sislo who quite exemplify that servant leadership and that faithful, steady hand with a deeply student-centered focus in everything that he does. So it's been an honor. I'm glad you're still here, sitting in a trustee seat to finish out your term. But yeah, truly, thank you. I'm honored. Moving on, I want to thank all of the district staff and administrators and students, actually, let me not forget them, who engaged in the work of the comprehensive needs assessments that were completed recently. I spent some time over the weekend digging into each of the 4 reports that were provided by Ms. Bookout to the board from each of the buildings, and it was just incredibly evident to me how much thought and care went into that process. In engaging not only with our staff, but in taking the time to travel to other buildings that staff don't normally work in and observe the work of other colleagues in other buildings that you don't often get a chance to see, and then hearing from our students as well. So that is something that I didn't encounter, that process or that dedication to looking at oneself and finding ways to grow and improve through that process of feedback and analysis. It's truly a special, unique thing that we do here, and I think that we do it profoundly well. So I just wanted to highlight that and thank all of those involved for completing that work, and just note how important that work is in the guidance of the district and knowing kind of where we all need to go together next. I'll note that per Mr. Midland's newsletter this week, they're seeking volunteers for the sneaker ball at the middle school. So families, adults who might be interested in supporting our 5th and 6th graders in one gym and our 7th and 8th graders in a different gym for the sneaker ball, he had a sign up in his most recent parent newsletter. So sneaker ball, middle school, sounds like fun. I won't be able to go, sadly, but I would.
otherwise. I want to congratulate Mr. Smith, Mr. Lon Smith, first of all, for his retirement and his next steps, but I also want to thank him for staying on and giving us that opportunity for hopefully a smooth transition and meeting his successor and being able to successfully onboard that person, whomever they may be. I look forward to that process, and thank him for his service. Wish him well. I thought I had one more item, but I must not have written it down, so I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Burdette.
Just two brief things for me. First, I want to welcome Cord Trott as the Milan High School's new varsity football coach. I actually had the opportunity to coach with Cord for a year. He's a fantastic coach, and best of all, he's a great person. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do here in Milan. And thanks for choosing Milan, Cord. I appreciate it. Secondly, the middle school and high school choir students will be competing this Saturday in the MSVMA regional honor. I don't think it's an honor, it's choir competition at Ottawa Lake Whiteford High School. I think this will be my 5th one that I've gone to, and they just always do an amazing job. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I would encourage anyone who can go to please go and cheer them on. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sislo.
Yeah, just a few things. I do want to thank Ms. Sarah Beckham for what she did with the Code of Ethics here for the board, posting it here in the boardroom. This is something that we look at every year, and so we appreciate it getting back up on the board, and I think there's an intent to sign it by the board members for that public statement that we made. I do remind folks about the Big Red Board Chat. It's going to be Tuesday, February 10th at Simons Elementary at 6:30. Mr. McMahon will get communication out about that in regards to the topic, but obviously everybody's welcome to attend. Again, that's Tuesday, February 10th at 6:30 at Simons. I do want to thank Mr. McMahon with the difficult decisions that he has made, and I appreciate his transparency and his message to the community, and his apologizing in regards to the day at the high school. It shows a lot of character. It's been trial by fire for Mr. McMahon, and I think he's definitely made a lot of difficult decisions, and I support him in what he's been doing. So I think it's been I appreciate it. Thank you to my fellow board members for the comments. And again, like I said at the last meeting, it's about the people. It's about the people in this community. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for talking. Everybody has deep ties to the schools. That's why you're here. So it's not a special thing for anybody sitting in this room to have ties to the school, because that's why we're all here. So I mean, that's what makes me sad where we're at right now. I mean, we're still working, and I think about things like, democracy is hard, but it's worth it. And I think this is one thing, contracts are hard, but they're worth it, and I think that's what we're trying to work toward. So I appreciate the board statement and what was put forward in regards to that. So again, congratulations to Tom. It's been trial by fire for you. I'm very fortunate that my first meeting was not like this. But I also want to thank Mr. Brousseau for his words. I wish he was here that I could tell him in person. But it is heard. I mean, you may not like the decisions that are made, but things are heard. Just because it's not your way, it doesn't mean that you're not heard. I mean, I think we all have kids, right? We all tell our kids no sometimes. That's not what they want to hear. Sometimes we tell them yes. And I mean, me as a parent, there's sometimes when I tell my kid no, it makes my heart sink. And there's times when I say yes and I can be elated. And I just want everybody to understand that we're all on the same page here. We just got to refine ourselves to get back to in the same sentence. So Milan Schools is not broken. We have great leadership, and we're going to continue to move forward. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments, Andrew. I just have a few comments tonight. One, I will say this will certainly be a memorable meeting. It has been a very long 2 weeks. I have had a lot of contact with my fellow board members and with Mr. McMahon, obviously, and Mr. Sislo. I can't count the number of times I've called and talked to you. So I really appreciate your help and your mentorship. I also want to thank Assistant Superintendent Bookout for sharing the CNA information on each of our schools as well. And it was a very thorough overview. I encourage our community to take a look at each of those reports. They're accessible on our website, and they're very well done. So thank you for that. Just a note for our board, we will need to consider meeting dates for the months of June through December. That'll be placed on an agenda for a future meeting. With respect to the big red board chat that Mr. Sislo mentioned, my assumption is that the topic will be on school finance, but I will connect with Mr. McMahon, and he will be getting something out regarding the big red chat soon. To all my fellow board members, if you are interested in attending that big red board chat, please let me know. We can only have 3 board members there so that we do not violate the OMA Act. So, any other comments from board members? Okay. Next item on the agenda is a closed session of the board to discuss negotiation strategies. Just so everyone is aware, there will be no actions taken immediately following our closed session other than to adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Those of you in attendance can stay outside of our closed session, but you do not need to stay beyond that point, as we will simply adjourn the meeting when we return from closed session. I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Burdette.
Okay, I have a motion by Michelle Heikon, support by Mr. Burdette, to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meeting Act for negotiation strategies. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're entering into closed session at 8:23 p.m. Thank you. Board of Education is coming back into session 9:22 p.m. and the Board of Education is adjourning the meeting at 9:22.